Hello there. So all this soft soap from Dublin over the Northern Ireland Protocol is more about keeping Joe Biden in the game than helping the people of Northern Ireland or easing things for the UK. Now, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe, click the little bell, select all, then like and comment below. So, far from being a move towards easing the pressure on the UK and the Unionist community in Northern Ireland, we now find out that the recent talk from Brussels and Dublin about the protocol possibly being too strict is more about placating a worried Joe Biden. And why is he worried? Because the 25th anniversary of the Belfast Agreement takes place on the 10th of April this year. And Joe Biden wants to be this side of the pond, basking in the limelight of the work of Senator George J. Mitchell and ensuring that the US administration is firmly on the Biden campaign of forcing a united Ireland under EU control. And that will not go down well with Biden if the Unionist community is still refusing to join Sinn Féin in a power-sharing agreement, because the protocol is still in place wreaking its havoc. Joe Biden will not want to see anything that will undermine the credibility of US diplomacy in Ireland, with the Express reporting that according to an unnamed Tory source, Joe Biden is desperate to get a solution and has been pressurising the EU to soften its stance to achieve it. And the DUP MP Ian Paisley is said to agree that this assessment is on the money and said, "I know the US President wants a lap of honour on Ireland with the 25th anniversary." But he added, "We have told the USA and UK it won't happen unless the Northern Ireland Protocol is sorted." But of course there is a chasm between the way the EU sees a solution to the protocol and what the Unionists want. In fact, the UK government sadly seems to be nearer to the EU solution than the Unionist one. The UK government has recently been talking warmly about how well the protocol talks between the EU and UK are going, and that some sort of landing area for agreement might be in sight. But it sounds to me like Sleepy Joe Biden has told both the EU and the UK to make sure the 25th anniversary goes without a hitch. But he's neither thought of nor factored in how the Unionist community feels about it. Something that has been amply demonstrated by his tin-eared, short-sighted approach to the issues by plonking a pro-United Ireland and Sinn Féin friend in the form of Congressman Joe Kennedy III, the grandson of Bobby Kennedy, into the post of US Special Envoy to Northern Ireland. Something obviously designed to rub the UK's nose in the Biden will to see Northern Ireland hived off. After all, he's proudly told us all how Irish he is. A firmly anti-UK appointment of his. What a brilliant masterstroke. Not. What a great way to make friends and influence people in the UK. Not. Wonder if Biden thinks he's the Irish PM now. He's disconnected enough from reality at the best of times. So Biden wants to swan in, all smiles, happiness and light, remove his shades and survey the peace and tranquillity. Then after the Belfast Agreement 25th anniversary is over, he'll fly back to Washington, get on the blower to Brussels and Dublin and tell them to stick it to the Brits as hard as they can with the unamended protocol. That's if he can still remember why he went there in the first place. Be in no doubt, Washington, Brussels and Dublin are looking to make the 25th anniversary of the Belfast Agreement a mere pause in their political hostilities against the UK, not to put an end to them. They will not be happy until the UK is ripped apart. And it seems that the Labour leader Keir Starmer is also in the mood to dismantle the UK even further. In his speech about his new plans yesterday, he's had the cheek to present a plan to introduce a new bill under the banner of Take Back Control, a Tory Vote Leave slogan. And this is all about Westminster ceding loads of powers out to devolved regions across the UK, including splitting England into bite-sized chunks. As if devolution hadn't already sown large swathes of discord across the nation. But Starmer wants to use a Gordon Brown plan to shift the tectonic plates further. And get this, he says he's using the Take Back Control style campaign to turn it from a slogan into a solution. But Take Back Control is about the UK leaving the EU, not devolving away from it a bit. Is his message therefore that the devolved regions should all split apart? Well, if it isn't, I fear that's the way it would go. He also says he understands the desire for the regions to want to stand on their own 2 feet. Does that mean no more redistribution of wealth around the bazaars via things like the Barnett formula? That would not go down well in certain areas. All this will be in a new Take Back Control bill, a centrepiece of our first King's speech, a bill that will deliver on the demand for a new Britain, a new approach to politics and democracy, a new approach to growth and our economy, said the Labour leader. Sounds like more politicians and more layers of government and administrators acting like a drag anchor on the economy that the rest of us will have to pick up the tab for. I get the impression that when the Westminster bubble is out of ideas to solve problems, they get the devolution handbook out so they can blame other people when it all goes wrong. And how much control will actually be handed over, and how much, if anything, will the Westminster power base and tax take be reduced? Little to zero would be my guess in both cases. But Starmer said it would herald in a decade of national renewal. Sounds to me more like a recipe for a decade of devolution turning into national decay. And this is the same speech where Starmer said that the next Labour Party government would not be getting the big national chequebook out to spend, spend and spend again. And I said yesterday that was something that will not please the hard left, and murmurings along those lines are already emerging from the communist arm of his party and the unions. How's he going to keep the unions on side without filling the bank accounts of the public sector workers with the private sector earnings? And the hard left are aching to get spending hugely on nationalising everything that moves. I have the suspicion that once Starmer finds himself in number 10, there'll be a very determined and concerted effort by the hard left to oust him and replace him with a commie. Someone who will do all they can to turn the UK into a full-on hard left state. I reckon the likes of Momentum are just biding their time. And finally, when subscribing, please don't forget to press that little bell and also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. And thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the show.